You know those beautiful foil chocolate Easter eggs that look so tempting, but then you pick it up and realize it's hollow and your heart just breaks a little bit? Yeah, that's kind of what happened today on my flight with ITA Airways in their brand new business class. It is a gorgeous livery with a stunning cabin, but alas, looks can be deceiving. By the way, my comments are always relative to the price that I paid, and the price that I paid is always in the description below. Before we begin this roller coaster of a journey that is the highs and lows of my ITA Airways business class experience, let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. I'm here to give you a self-funded and honest look at some of the best and some of the not so best airlines and hotels in the world, which I've been bringing to you full time for the past 4 years. Check out my hundreds of videos, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to learn more about how I do things. Let's get to the airport. I had a slightly creepy drive to get to the airport at around midnight. Hard to imagine that I'm driving through a city or metropolitan area of like 35 million people. It was a bit day after tomorrow. But don't worry, they were all just hiding at the airport. So I've been dying to try ITA Airways ever since they launched their new A330-900neos. At first, I didn't really like their livery, it didn't rub me the right way, but I have totally changed my tune on that now. But I remember when they debuted their A350s with a new business class cabin, and I looked at it and I thought, well, that surely looks like an inspired government-owned airline cabin. But then they brought out their A330s, which showed a heck of a lot more promise. And if you're wondering about the all-blue everything livery that they're sporting, well, look no further than the Italian national football team. So, okay, let's untangle all of this as I get inside and head to check-in. ITA Airways is a very new, old airline. Let's breeze through this. Alitalia was the flag carrier of Italy since 1946 and was government-owned until 2009. An investment from Etihad in 2015 looked promising for the alien carrier, but then Etihad pulled out the investment just 2 years later. Alitalia entered extraordinary administration, and the government ruled out renationalization, putting the airline on the auction block. There were failed negotiations with Delta, EasyJet, the Italian National Rail Company, and even China Eastern. After the start of COVID, the government retook control in March of 2020, fearing that the carrier wouldn't be able to hold it together through the pandemic. 7 months after that, the ITA baby was born. ITA Airways left SkyTeam a couple of months ago, so don't mind the signage all over. More on that in a bit. ITA began operations that October and actually revealed their logo on the same day that they started operations. Let's head to the Encalm Prive Lounge, which was thankfully not as packed as it tends to get, and we can talk about ITA in the present day. If you're flying business or first out of Delhi on any carrier basically, chances are you'll find yourself in the Prive Lounge, which have proportions as grand as the food spread on offer. Anytime someone comments, well of course the meal wasn't good, it was catered in Delhi, I think of the spread that they always have in here. I'm not the best at predicting the future yet, but rumor has it that the new Air India Business Class Lounge, which has been closed for renovations for a while, will be opening right around the time this video comes out. So chances are by now or very soon, all Star Alliance business class passengers will be heading there instead of the Prive Lounge, which will bring some much needed calm back to the Encalm. In the past few years, ITA has nearly doubled its fleet to its current 99 aircraft, and are currently transitioning to join Star Alliance in 2026. The government decided to sell a stake in the airline in 2022, and they received 3 original offers. One from MSC Group and Lufthansa Group together, one from Delta with Air France and KLM, and one from Indigo Partners. While the government did at some point speak to preferring the Air France KLM offer, they eventually sold a 41% share to Lufthansa Group, hence their impending Star Alliance membership. Prior to this flight, and somewhat after it, ITA Airways definitely did have a vibe that was much more Air France KLM than Lufthansa. Vibrant but refined, I'd say, is what they were going for, with continuous nods to their Italian heritage. If you're enjoying the video and would like to support the channel, there are many ways that you can do so. A quick like on the video and subscribe helps the videos with the algorithm. You could join my YouTube channel memberships to get early access to some of my videos and access to all of my community posts. Or you can check out my Patreon where I post the most and can help you out with any travel related questions. Whatever you do, thanks for doing it. Boarding was delayed a little while and then pushed back even more, but let's get on board and you can see for yourself why I thought the A330s would be, and kinda are, so promising.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Welcome. 6L. Those seat on the
The cabin is beautiful, and it's rare that I say that about a business class cabin on A330s, because due to the width of the cabin, there isn't that much that airlines can do with it. Here we have 7.5 rows laid out in a staggered 1-to-1 configuration, not too dissimilar to the A330s in Delta's or Virgin's fleets, but in this case without doors. The finishes here are just pure class. They really do give you a sense that there was a lot of thought put into the seat, trying to balance a bespoke, elegant design without going over the top and making things just feel impractical. Beyond the nice finishes, the seat does have all of the features that you'd also be looking for, except perhaps closed storage space. Or that much storage space at all actually, since you can't put your bag under the footrest. I was given a glass of Prosecco and my first insight into the oh so very much extremely chaotic crew. I do have to say that all the crew on this flight were very charismatic and friendly. But they were also an absolute hot mess, and you could just tell it came down to a complete lack of systems. Normally, at this point in the flight, before the flight, I wouldn't be so in tune with how each member of crew was working, but they were all nearly running around, so I was just paying extra attention to try to figure out why. At this point, there were 3 flight attendants spread out taking meal orders. Prior to pushback, one of those sections had their orders for both meals taken. One of the sections had their orders taken just for the first meal prior to takeoff. And the other section, my section, simply had the flight attendant come around and explain there would be a snack after takeoff and a breakfast before landing. While there aren't any doors, there is a decent amount of privacy for the seats that are closer to the window. This is my seated eye level, and leaning forward. I know this is a very small thing, and I worry about how it's going to wear over time, but I can't say how much I enjoyed the textile panel that's directly in front of you, rather than the bog standard plastic or other hard surface. It brings a homey feel to the seat that I really can't think of experiencing on any other airline. If I could change one thing, it would be the slope platform under the foot cubby. On long flights, my knees get tight and I struggle to find a way to stretch out without standing or putting my legs straight out in this seat. Let's get into the air and continue the whatever the Italian word for telenovela is. Let's explore a few of the onboard amenities, which generally they did really well with. First up, I'm not sure I could make a piece of fabric wrinkle this quickly if I tried, but the pillow was decent enough in size, if not a bit thin. The duvet-style blanket was also on the thin side, but I appreciate that, especially considering there were no individual air vents. I was happy to get a pair of slippers, but I imagine that a slight spring breeze would tear them apart. I'll show you the full menu and wine list now. Note that the red prices on the wine list are my addition just to give you an idea of the value on board. Of course, they're free to consume. For the first snack meal service, there was a choice between smoked salmon, chicken, or a vegetable pie. Everyone in front of me was served, and then it just stopped. I called the crew and asked when the snack was coming, and I got sort of an, "Oh, you wanted to eat?" "Yeah, please." I got the chicken, which was, well, chicken. Take a good long look at it, because those 3 slices of cold chicken breast were the highlight of the flight as far as food was concerned. I ordered that with a Campari spritz, and was given an Aperol spritz, but, I don't know, half credit for trying. Snark aside, I did enjoy the light meal and was happy to get a bit of protein and veg with fruit rather than a mini sandwich or something like that that's commonly offered. I'll give this service an 8.6 out of 10. Entertainment on board was bright and easy to use, with a decent selection of movies on offer. Nothing mind-blowing, but certainly enough to keep you occupied for a few flights a month. That along with a great moving map. Let's get into the amenity kits. Yes, plural. The first kit is the much more standard of the two. I enjoyed the pouch for its practicality and love how everything matched the colors of the cabin itself. Then the second kit, or roly-poly, whatever you want to call it, was a nice touch, perhaps, but also perhaps the most impractical kit that I've ever seen. Have you ever received shampoo in an amenity kit before? Me either. And the pouch or the roll, I mean, what is this meant to be used for? Bathrooms on board were consistently clean from the waist up, with a nice large sink basin, but always, literally always, the floors were wet. After that, I settled into my fairly comfortable lie-flat seat. I would have preferred a seat cover, but otherwise it was a comfortable surface, except for the sizable gap between the seat back and the seat. The foot cubby is a bit small, but it was doable. A full 2 hours and 40 minutes prior to landing, the cabin was woken up for the slowest breakfast service that I've ever witnessed. At least the espresso and the serveware were very nice. The 3 sections were served in wildly different manners. In my section, he would come, take your order, and then disappear for 5 or 10 minutes and then deliver your tray. In other sections, sometimes the passengers had everything set up for them on their tray table, not like a tray service. It felt like they didn't have a dedicated galley crew member to set everything up and they were just fending for themselves in the galley. I kid you not, he again stopped serving just before me, except this time the passengers behind me were also waiting. After 15 minutes of watching the guy across from me eat and not seeing any crew, I rang the call bell and he was genuinely shocked that he forgot about me again and the 2 behind me. He took my order and the food came 15 minutes later. I got my fruit an hour and 21 minutes after that coffee. The fruit was delicious and juicy, and the bread was that very dry airline bready kind of bread. For the main dish, I ordered the egg frittata, which, if you follow the channel, you know is always the best solution for eggs on a plane, in my opinion. served with grilled cherry tomatoes, turkey bacon, and buttered spinach. And all I can say is, I was wrong. I've flown 281 flights through 66 countries on 115 airlines for this channel, and this was the first plate of food that I genuinely couldn't bring myself to eat. I have a note that I wrote for each item on the plate. The frittata looks like it's a year old. You can see the line in between the fresh and the dry part. The eggs were stone cold and somehow tasted gamey. The turkey bacon was a belt, literally, inedible. The spinach was cold but also so overcooked or reheated that it was completely dry. And I apologize, I lied, I did eat the potatoes. I think it's my first 1 out of 10, only because that main dish was simply inedible. Now, 2 quick things. First of all, I don't buy the "it's because it was catered in Delhi" excuse. I've had plenty of very good meals catered out of Delhi, perhaps not recently, but in the past have had plenty. And frankly, based on how dry that frittata was, I wouldn't be surprised if that originally catered out of Rome, but I'm not sure on that. The other thing is, I just want to show you what ITA Airways has been doing for their lunch and dinner meal services. It looks to be a truly restaurant quality meal, served up beautifully. Now, of course, this is a 3 a.m. flight. I knew I'd be getting breakfast, but it does still sting a bit that they've been building up their reputation on great food, only to serve an inedible plate of things. Lastly, besides the pre-departure beverage, I just found it odd how much drinks were an afterthought, especially for a European carrier. No drinks were ever proactively offered or refilled. So I'm a little bit hesitant to say this because I can imagine what Lufthansa will end up pulling back on, but I do still think that ITA has huge potential. Design-wise, they've got things in the bag. Systems-wise, it's a mess. We'll see if they improve a bit on my connecting flight to Madrid, but for now, they're going to be a 3. You can't tease me with a gorgeous cabin in a gorgeous plane and then not follow up once on board. A beautiful morning arrival into Rome is coming up. So I really do hope that you enjoyed this trip report today. If you did, please be sure to click that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on my weekly flight and resort reviews. I'll see you next time from Punta Cana. As always, thanks for watching until the end.